Hey, welcome back. This is TheEpicSpire. I've had a few people ask me how I was doing the shorts to get them formatted for us gamers, since we don't really record our stuff on the phones. I just record my episode of my game as I normally do, and when I go to edit, I go into the same editing project that I use for all of them, just so I can make sure that all my settings are the same, right? And normally it'll be on timeline 1, and I'm using Davinci Resolve. I don't know if you're using Premiere or Shotcut or anything. I don't know if the terms are different, but it should be a similar process. After I edit my video, what I do is I choose, a selection of clips that I want, and I copy them. I move into a different timeline on the same project. I add an extra intro and everything to it so that it is pretty much like this one's going to be a 47-second clip. I export it as normal. I named it, something different than I normally name my videos. It's a full length. It'll be the full length video in normal format. I could upload that to YouTube and it'll be a short video, but it won't count as being a short. In order for it to be a short and be used in that algorithm, it needs to be in a vertical format. So what I would do is, after I export it, I'd open my project manager and go into my shorts project. When you start a new project, you would want to make sure that your resolution is 1080 by 1920 instead of 1920 by 1080, or whatever ratio you use. Make sure that the height is bigger than the width so that it'll be a vertical format. You want your pixel aspect ratio to be square. That will allow it to stretch easier and be a more smooth transition. And other than that, I would add the video clip to the timeline, and then I have this overlay that I use to cover the black bars that's on the top and bottom, just so it's not as ugly, I guess. And then you go into to export that. You want to make sure that your resolution set the same, 1080 by 1920. And other than that, make sure you click on the clip itself, the video clip attributes, and you want it to be 35mm, full aperture, HD, anamorphic. And then that way, when you export it, it'll look like that. This the black borders along the side over here won't show up if you're watching it on the phone in a vertical portrait mode, but if you throw it into landscape mode, they'll show up because there's no information over here. But that's the same thing if you do it in with anything, even if you record normally that way. So if you needed to know those settings, then the video clip that you are using, the clip attributes, should be 35mm. I do 60 frames per second, but that's what I record in. So if you're fancy and you do 120, then you'd want that to be in 120. Super scale, none. I think all that was default. The only thing I changed was the full aperture anamorphic. Again, if you want to see the project settings, square aspect ratio 1080 by 1920. Video format, I put 1080p 24, which I think that should actually be 60. I'm not going to change that though. It should be 60 though, but that's what I had the setting at, so that's what it's going to stay at. If you want to pause and take a look at those a little bit better. Again, I don't know if it's on Premiere or any other editing software. I don't know what your settings should be, but hopefully somebody in the comments can translate. But yeah, that's the only things I changed from the default settings. Hope this helps you out. Thanks.